this is your captain speaking. Well, rather gasping. What a trip that was. And it's not over yet. Let's hear it from the man himself. I'd kindly ask you now, Elon, to come on stage and join Axel Springer CEO Matthias Döpfner for a little chat.
Well,
that was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's like a ride. I mean, I think you could charge money for this. This was great. I mean, yeah, this really makes a difference to have this two screens and the angle change. It's like, that felt great, like Disney ride.
Elon, apart from this special trip to Mars this evening, when do you think realistically human beings will land on Mars for the first time?
I feel fairly confident about 6 years from now. So the Mars, Earth-Mars synchronization occurs roughly every 26 months. So we had one this year, the summer, and so that means in roughly like about 2 years there'll be another one, and then 2 years after that. So I'd say if you say 6 years from now, I think highly confident. If we get lucky, maybe 4 years, and then we want to try to send an uncrewed vehicle there in 2 years.
When will your first trip to orbit will take place?
I don't know, possibly in 2 or 3 years. I'm mostly concerned with developing the technology that can enable a lot of people to go to Mars and make life multiplanetary, have a base on the moon, a city on Mars, and I think it's important that we strive to have a self-sustaining city on Mars as soon as possible. I mean, I'm optimistic about the future on Earth, but it's important to have life insurance for life as a whole.
Is it going to be a business kind of tourism in orbit, or is it more a kind of plan B if things on Earth do not develop as well?
It's not exactly a plan B. It's more that I think there's two aspects to this. One is that we want to have a future that is inspiring and exciting. And what are the things that you find inspiring and exciting about the future? And I think a future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, I think every kid gets excited about that. You don't even need to teach them. They just get it. It's like instinctive. And so it's very important for us to have reasons to be excited about life. Like when you wake up in the morning, it can't just be about problems. It's okay. I know everyone in this room deals with a lot of tough problems, but it's got to be more than that. So, I think a future where you can say, hey, even if it's not you, there's going to be people out there. We can have a base on the moon. We're going to have a city on Mars. Maybe go further, moons of Jupiter and everything. I think that's a very exciting future, and I think most people do.
And you seriously want to be buried on Mars?
Just not on impact. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to, listen, we're all going to die someday. So if you're going to die someday, I'm like, okay, do you want to be buried on Mars or Earth? I'm like, Mars sounds cool. Born on Earth, die on Mars. That's, if you've got the choice.
2 years ago, I had a conversation with Jack Ma, and we spoke about Jeff Bezos' plans with regard to orbit. And he said, well, let's Jeff Bezos take care for the orbit, I take care for the Earth. You seem to take care for both?
Yeah, basically Tesla is about trying to make sure things are good for the future on Earth. And then SpaceX is about good future beyond Earth, basically. And so obviously we have to have sustainable energy, both consumption and production of energy. So like Tesla does solar panels and batteries. I think that's one of the key ways to have sustainable energy generation. And also the batteries are useful for wind power. So, and then you need to consume it via, you consume the electricity, so electric vehicles. I think you look at these things like say, okay, if you look back from the future and say, what's the fundamental good of Tesla? I would say it's probably should be assessed as by how many years did Tesla accelerate the advent of sustainable energy? That's I would measure the goodness of Tesla in that way. And then for SpaceX, it's like, okay, to what degree did we improve the probability of humanity being a spacefaring civilization?
I remember very well the year 2014 when we were hosting the Gold Steering Wheel here at Axel Springer, and you got the award for Lifetime Achievement. And I was sitting in the first row with the then very successful and famous CEO of a very big German car company. And I asked him, while you were on stage, isn't this guy dangerous for you? I mean, this looks really serious. He said, oh, no, don't worry. First of all, the whole idea of electric driving, it's never going to be a mass market.
Sure,
Second, these guys,
heard that a lot.
these guys in Silicon Valley, they have no clue about engineering, about building really beautiful and great cars, so we don't have to worry. By then, Tesla's market cap was 23 billion. Today it's 536 billion US dollars. The market cap of VW then was 86, and today it's 77. And you could, you are with Tesla 2.5 times bigger than BMW, VW, and Daimler.
I even said the stock is too high. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, like,
have you ever considered to buy?
The stock is too high a long time, like when it was like $800 pre-split. And they don't listen to me, but you know, I tell you, and the SEC complained again. I mean, like, you know.
Is it a serious option to buy one of the incumbents, one of the big car companies for you?
Well, I think we're definitely not going to launch a hostile takeover. So I suppose if there was someone...
But a friendly one.
If somebody said, hey, we think it would be a good idea to merge with Tesla, we'd certainly have that conversation. But, you know, we don't want to, you know, be a hostile takeover sort of situation.
Did you feel a lot of complacency these days that the incumbents then let you feel that you are, I mean, the kind of hopeless disruptor, but they know how to do it, or were they very polite and nice with you?
Do you mean back then or
back then?
Oh, no.
Today, everybody's
super nice. I would not say they were super. No, yeah, they were difficult to characterize their response as super nice. They used a lot of adjectives. I don't think any of them were positive. So
we
really tried hard to convince a lot of companies. Honestly, I was in so many panels, but they generally was generally the sentiment that was expressed that you mentioned earlier, that was pretty much universal, especially. Back in, say, 2008 or 2007, like when we first unveiled the Roadster in 2007, yeah, I mean, it was just basically, they just said, well, you're basically a bunch of fools. Well, I mean, generally they say like, well, starting a car company is crazy, you're going to lose all your money. I was like, I think I probably will lose all my money, I agree. It wasn't like I thought it would be successful. I thought we had maybe a 10% chance of success. So then people would say it's going to fail and you're going to lose everything. I was like, yeah, probably true. Yeah, what else is new?
A couple of years ago, we saw each other in America, and a guy asked you on a panel when autonomous driving will be approved, and you said, I do not care so much when it's going to be approved. I care more when human beings in cars will be forbidden. And then the guy said, well, that's totally unrealistic. It's never going to happen in cars. People want to do something actively. And then you said, well, 100 years ago, nobody could imagine elevator without a lift boy. Today, nobody could imagine a lift with a lift boy.
Yeah.
So when is autonomous driving really going to happen, and when are you able to do it, and when is it going to be approved?
Okay, just between us.
Yeah, that's a very discreet circle here. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, I'm not against people driving, to be clear. So I think people will drive cars basically as far into the future as I can imagine. It's just that it's going to be increasingly unusual to drive your own car. And while it's fun to drive a well-handling car on a winding road in beautiful terrain, of course that's fun. But it's not fun to drive a car in terrible gridlock traffic. Like, going through extreme traffic, that's no fun driving a car. So I think people are unlikely to, most of the time, want to commute or with their and drive themselves. And people are typically spending hour and a half a day, maybe 2 hours on average driving, especially say in like California or something like that. It's very common. And some people will actually commute like 3 hours a day. Sometimes it's pretty crazy. So, I think if you say fast forward to like 10 years from now, I think 10 years from now, almost all cars will have full autonomy capability. All new cars produced. So there's about 2 billion cars and trucks in the existing fleet, and the new vehicle production is about 5% of the fleet size, so about 100 million. So even to the point at which all cars are autonomous, it'll still take 20 years to replace all the cars, assuming that the number of cars and trucks in the fleet stays constant. But like say 10 years from now, I would say vast majority of cars electric, like maybe 70-80% or more, and almost all cars autonomous. Electric autonomy is absolutely the future, no question. It's just a question of when. But then, like I said, sometimes people think that means the global fleet gets replaced instantly. It's like, nope, you have to go 20 years beyond that point before, 20 years from the point at which new cars are electric, then the fleet will be replaced. This is just an important, it's not like, sometimes people are used to like mobile phones and that kind of thing. It's like 2-year or 3-year replacement rate, but cars are a much more expensive asset, a longer life. Anyway, to actually answer your question, I'm extremely confident of achieving full autonomy and releasing it to the Tesla customer base next year. Now, there's a uncertain period of time for when regulatory approval will take. How long will it take? But I think if you are able to accumulate billions of kilometers of autonomous driving, then it's difficult to argue and look at the accident rate when the car is autonomous versus non-autonomous. And in fact, our statistics already show a massive difference when the car is on autopilot or not on autopilot. The safety is much greater even with the current autopilot software.
And we are discussing level 5 autonomy, so really full autonomy. Will
Yes.
Europe lag behind, or will it be approved here at the same time like in America or China?
It's hard to say exactly when it will be approved. I mean, and our customers already know this, but the EU regulators are the most conservative. And I don't know if people want that to be the case or not. Our customers are sort of unhappy about it. But yeah, they only meet every 6 months. It's a bit of an arduous.
Yeah.
Maybe meet more often. I don't know. But I think at least some jurisdictions will allow full self-driving next year.
Okay. Exactly a year ago, you were announcing in this very building that you're planning to build a new site near Berlin.
Yeah.
And a couple of months later, in June, you started. You want to finish it by July next year. We did a little tour this morning. It's impressive how advanced it is, and it's almost unbelievable. Germany, and particularly Berlin, is not world famous for finishing construction sites in time and in budget. So you've created a kind of anti-Berlin airport project. Why Berlin? Why did you go to Germany and to Berlin to get that big project done?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm actually a big fan of Germany. I love Germany. It's great. I have a lot of friends, German friends, and I think Berlin is a very fun city. And I think there's also, from a location standpoint, people like, say, young people can live in apartments at a reasonable price in the city of Berlin. But if somebody's got a family, they can still have an affordable house. So it's a good location, offering good living for people of all ages and incomes. And
Berlin mayor once said Berlin is poor but sexy. Is that what attracted you?
Berlin's not that poor, but it's definitely sexy.
Could you imagine?
So we're gonna have when we open the. You're all invited, by the way. When we have the opening for Giga Berlin, we're gonna have just a big party. We're going to have like start off on the day, have more sort of family music, and then gradually get more hardcore, and then go midnight techno till dawn.
Do you plan to spend more time in Berlin yourself? You want to partly live here?
In fact, yes, I'll be spending a lot of time here.
Where do you sleep tonight?
Tonight's in the factory.
In the factory, not in a hotel.
Well, technically in a conference room in the factory, but yeah.
You sleep in a conference room in the not finished factory tonight?
Yeah, it gives me a good feel for what's going on.
Alone or?
Yeah, I assume so. Is this an invitation? Yeah.
Okay. Elon, you have so many projects. It's not only Tesla or SpaceX, it's Neuralink, it's the Boring Company, so many things. And when we discussed last time, I asked you, what is the most important project or the most important topic for you to deal with in the foreseeable future? And you said that is truly the role that AI is going to play in our society. Could you explain why, and why that is a big opportunity, but also seems to worry you?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, humans have been the smartest creature on Earth for a long time, and that is going to change with what's typically called artificial general intelligence. So this is, say, an AI that is smarter than a human in every way. Could even simulate a human. This is something we should be concerned about. I think there should be government oversight of AI developments, especially super advanced AI. It's just, this is anything that is a potential danger to the public. We generally agree that this should have government oversight to ensure that the public safety is taken care of.
Because you fear that one day mankind could serve the machines and not the other way around?
Honestly, when I see people on their phones, I think we're already serving the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everyone's answering the questions. Every time you do a search or add information, you're sort of building this the digital group mind. The advent of artificial general intelligence is called the singularity for a reason, because just like a black hole, which is a singularity, it's difficult to predict what will happen. So it's not as though the advent of AGI is necessarily bad, but it's bad as one of the possible outcomes.
And when is singularity in the definition of Ray Kurzweil going to happen?
Well, I think you were saying he's predicting 2025. I think that's reasonably accurate.
Mm. And how can it be avoided that is then more a threat for humanity than an opportunity? Is it a question of governance, so that there is not too much power in one or in few hands? Or how would you make sure that it goes into the right direction?
I think we should have a government oversight, just like we do. We have government oversight and regulation of cars and aircraft and food and pharmaceuticals. These are all, there are regulators that oversee these developments to ensure public safety. And I think digital superintelligence would also be potentially a public safety risk. And so it should be, I think it's very important for regulators to keep an eye on that.
Who should own the data by then?
I think everyone should own their own data. Like individuals should own their data. And it certainly shouldn't be tricked by some terms and conditions of a website and suddenly you don't own your data. That's crazy. Who reads those terms and conditions anyway? So, but I think it's just, like we wouldn't let people develop a nuclear bomb in the backyard just for the hell of it, That seems crazy. So digital superintelligence, I think, has the potential to be more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. So we should somebody should be keeping an eye. We can't have the inmates running the asylum here.
Which is a global issue, because if we do well, but China has other rules and a different regulatory framework, that is another
Yeah, I don't think.
challenge?
Yeah, I generally like that. This is one of the rebuttals I get from those developing AI, and Tesla is also developing a form of AI with self-driving, but it's a very narrow form of AI. It's just like the car's not going to wake up one day and take over the world. So it's but the rebuttal I get is like, well, China's going to have unfettered AI development, and so if we have regulations and that slows us down, then China will have it. And I'm like, look, from my conversations with government officials in China, they're quite concerned about AI as well, and they, in fact, they're probably more likely to have good oversight than I think other countries.
What is the biggest challenge ahead of us? In general, not only with regard to AI. What is the biggest problem that needs to be solved?
What's the biggest threat to humanity's future or something? Well, AI is certainly one of the biggest risks. It could be the biggest risk. I think we need to watch out about population collapse. This is somewhat counterintuitive to most people. They think that, well, there's so many humans, maybe too many humans, but that's just because they live in a city. If you're in an aircraft and you look down, they say, if you dropped a cannonball, how often would you hit a person? Basically never. In fact, there's stuff falling in from space all the time. Natural meteorites, old rocket stages, all the time. But nobody worries about it because the actual, in fact, there's a good cool website called Wait But Why, and this guy Tim Urban, he actually just did the math, and all humans on Earth could fit in the city of New York on one floor. Don't even need the upper floors. So that's actually the cross section of humans as seen from Earth is extremely tiny, basically vanishingly small, almost nothing. So we need to watch out about population collapse. Low birth rates, I think, is a big risk, and it's also not exactly top secret. You can go look at the Wikipedia, birth rate. So, and this is actually this is definitely the civilization ends with a whimper, not a bang, because it would be a sad ending, where the average age becomes very high, and really the youth are effectively de facto enslaved to take care of the old people. This is not a good way to end.
Do you have any new projects dealing with these topics that you've just addressed?
Well, I'm trying to set a good example on the kid front.
6 kids.
Yes. For now.
How much time do you spend with them?
I spend about as much time as they want to spend with me. So,
Would they? Yeah.
I mean, they're not. Well, one's just a baby, and the others are 14 and 16, and teenagers don't usually want to hang out with their parents that much. We just had Thanksgiving weekend, so all the kids were over. So if they want to spend more time with me, I say I actually ask them, "Are you sure we don't want to hang out more?" And they're like, "No." So I think it's probably the right amount then, since they don't want to hang out more. So I think we really should take this seriously. The population collapse, artificial intelligence, obviously sustainable energy is important. The faster we transition to sustainable energy, the less of a gamble we're taking with climate. And I think there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs on the medical front, particularly around synthetic mRNA. You can basically do anything with synthetic RNA, DNA. It's like a computer program. So, I think with enough, with effort, that's not too crazy. You could probably stop aging, reverse it if you want. You can basically do anything. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence. So, caterpillars do it. So,
But your project Neuralink is in a way empowering human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. That's the purpose of it. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Neuralink, in the short to medium term, Neuralink is really just going to help cure brain injuries, and brain and spine injuries. So it's like if somebody is in fact, our first implanted devices in humans will be for quadriplegics, tetraplegics, allowing them to control a computer or a phone just using their mind. So, like you can imagine, like if Stephen Hawking could just talk at normal speed or even faster than normal speed.
Looking back for the last thousands of years, what is the most important invention of mankind so far?
In the past 1,000 years, I guess it's
millions.
Oh, millions. Well, I think language, being able to talk and express concepts, and this is probably the biggest invention of humanity's language.
It's an answer that we like very much in the publishing house.
Absolutely. Writing is exactly just incredible. Writing really made a big difference. That guy Gutenberg, he really knew what he was doing.
You have one thing in common with Nikola Tesla, that's a photographic memory. Is that only a gift or sometimes a burden because you memorize too much?
I have a photographic memory in some respect.
You can filter?
For technical stuff, I have a very good memory. So, for a human, computers are much better at memory. Computers are really good at memory.
Why is music so important for you? Techno music in particular?
Well, it's pretty fun. I think it's, you want to, feel maximum human, And so I think when people have like sort of a rave and good music, it can be like, hey, maximum human, You want to really feel, it's like what it really gets you to feel, And I think that, having fun with friends and, just crazy dancing is fun.
Perhaps your love for techno music is the secret reason why you are building big projects in Berlin.
Honestly, it's a significant factor.
Okay, Elon, last question. You celebrated your 30th birthday with a masked ball in Venice. 40th birthday, I was told you had a fight with a samurai sword fighter. What is your plan for your 50th birthday
really
next year?
So my 40th birthday was in Venice. It was technically a post-apocalyptic masked ball. Because after the apocalypse, how much clothing do you really have? It's probably gonna be a little ragged, a little burnt.
No plans for the 50th?
Yeah, 50th. The half-century party. I'll have to think of something. Usually go with some kind of crazy theme. The party where I ended up wrestling with the world champion sumo wrestler, which by the way also caused me to burst a disc in my neck. So, 5 minutes of glory for 5 years of pain. That really hurt. So that party was Victorian Japanese steampunk. So that was cool. I have to think of something for the half-century party.
You have a little time to think.
Hey, being on Earth for a half-century, that's like, hey, I'm still alive. Wow, cool.
Okay, Elon, one very last question. When I asked you what is the meaning of life during a dinner,
42.
You said after a while, well, probably this wonderful French cheese. Could you please explain?
Well, I was just saying that you want to take a moment to appreciate things in life and the sensations. Food's incredible, and there's just so many good things that you can experience. Some of them cost nothing, really. Have a walk in nature or just a nice meal, and it's like, wow, that's pretty great, And we should take a moment to appreciate these little things, the big things, the things that move your heart. I think that's probably the meaning of life, was close